It really does feel like we're living in the future here. So let's have a look at what we can do with GitHub Copilot Agent Mode, both in Visual Studio Code and also on github.com. So what we're looking at here is Visual Studio Code, and I've got GitHub Copilot Agent Mode here. I've created a really basic representation of the game Tic-Tac-Toe, just as an image, badly, in Paint. And I've added that as context, just here, for Agent Mode to use. Here now I can ask Agent Mode to create an HTML and JavaScript version of our game. And it's used two references. It's saying we're going to create an HTML and JavaScript version of Tic-Tac-Toe, so it's recognised that this is Tic-Tac-Toe. It's created an index.html file. And now it's creating game.js, and there we are. So that says that's ready. Let's press keep to keep those changes to these files, and we can see we've got an index and a game.js. We can actually preview this in VS Code here. Here we have Tic-Tac-Toe, so I can click on each of these. There we are, and player X wins. So I'm happy with those files, so let's check that into our repo. And I've got my GitHub Actions set up to automatically deploy this to a Azure static web app. We can see we have our Tic-Tac-Toe game. And we can do the same things as we did before, and player X wins. So that's great, and that works really well. But if we want to make some modifications to this, say let's stick a red line through the winning set here. We can of course return to our Visual Studio GitHub Copilot Agent Mode and instruct it to do it directly there. But if we imagine that we want to do this in a collaborative way, perhaps on a Teams call with some of our team to be able to discuss the best way forward, then how do we make that work? So what I've set up is an app that monitors Teams calls, and it looks for the transcription from a Teams call. It receives a subscription notification that a Teams call transcription is ready, and then it downloads that transcription, summarizes it, and then sends it to GitHub as an issue and assigns that issue to Copilot. Now what this does is that once you assign it to Copilot in github.com, then that Copilot agent will then take that issue and work on it and test it in place and produce a branch and a pull request for us to have a look at. So let's see how that works, shall we? If I join this meeting, and if we click more, and then we begin transcribing. Okay. I'd like this game to show a single red line through the winning set. And then we can end the call. Now if we switch across to our Teams GitHub app, so this is at the moment monitoring for that subscription notification to arrive. And there we are. This is the notification for our transcription arriving after that call was finished. And we can see here that Peter Gallagher said, I'd like this game to show a single red line through the winning set. So that then created a GitHub issue and assigned it to GitHub Copilot, and that will now begin working on it. So let's have a look at that. We go to pull requests. We'll see here now that we've got a pull request in process. So thank you for assigning this issue to me. I'm starting to work on it, and I'll let you know how it's getting on. So we can see here Peter Gallagher said OK, and I'd like this game to show a single red line through the winning set. So if we scroll down, we can see that there's a session in progress here, and we're spinning up a dev environment. I'll help you implement a feature to show a single red line through the winning set in Tic-Tac-Toe game. And the implementation is complete, and we can see that it's enhanced the check win function, added some CSS, and added the highlight winning cells, as well as updated the game flow and reset some functionality. And that's complete. So now if we go and have a look at this pull request, and we can see it's listed the changes that it's made and the modifications that it's made while it's done it. So that's lovely. So if we return to Visual Studio Code, and we can switch to our branch, and we can give this a go. And there we are, we have a red line through our winning set. And we can even approve our pull request. And then an action will begin. And then we can refresh our tic-tac-toe game and give it a go. And there we are. So what we've seen here is that in Visual Studio Code, we can use GitHub Copilot Agent Mode to be able to take an image of a game and create that game automatically. We then deployed that to the web through an action in GitHub by committing our files to the main branch. And then we iterated on our design using the transcription from a meeting in Teams. We grabbed that transcription, created a GitHub issue from that transcription, assigned that to the Copilot agent. It then iterated around a series of steps to be able to create the improvement automatically. We then checked our PR in the branch, verified the functionality, and then we were able to merge that branch and deploy our update directly to Azure, and all through the power of GitHub Copilot Agent Mode, we're able to create a tic-tac-toe game. It really is pretty cool.